Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It is me, once again, screaming into the void of the internet. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, guys. I've my curse stat activated again. Essentially, in the middle of the night, uh, my folks' car just got repossessed. And I could pretend that I'm over here like crying or something like that, but I saw it coming. In a recent video, where I was talking about ways that I was thinking about, like, trying to protect myself from, like job instability, because the fact that I felt like jobs these days aren't really secure and stuff like that. As like I was going to use this job to, learn other skills, as I've been there for a while. Not right now, I'm saying like if I was going to be there for a while and stuff like that, like, learn maybe how to drive a forklift and, get my driver's license in general, just things like that to have other streams of income. But I said that even then I felt concerned. I felt worried that something would go wrong because for some reason I've always just had this uphill battle in life. And if there is ever moments of positivity, it feels as though it is really just because it's trying to soften the blow of the next, like, just massive hit of negativity, you know? And this is really just a nice big whap in the face of negativity. Because you guys know how hard I've been trying to get a job. And I finally have one. And out of all the times where this could have happened, it's right as when I just get it for the first time. You know, I wouldn't feel as concerned if I had a bit of what I would like to call like a bit of safety money. But I am essentially building my life up from scratch. I have nothing to my name. I have nothing in my bank account. When I came here, I basically came here with essentially what, like, $20 in my pocket, like in cash, and nothing in a bank account. So I'm essentially building my life up from scratch. And, if this was like more of a city area, then, I could probably use that $20 to, like, get on the bus or something. But the truth is, I'm literally in like one of the worst positions for commute. Not because it's like, insanely far, if you have a car, obviously, but it's literally because I have not seen buses like here, like, at all. I cannot tell you when's the time I've seen a bus here because the thing about the countryside is because of how spread out it is, there is rarely instances of public transportation. If you're in a more like, compact city area, you'll see like, a bus here or there, but I'm like in this intersect between country and city, and so I don't really see bus stops. And even when I like look on like say Google Maps to like look at commutes, because I found this out even before this happened, because I was looking at how long it takes to get there and how reliable it would be for me to get there by myself without my folks if they couldn't pick me up or something, right? And realistically speaking, it said that the bus would take like an hour or something like that, and that's again on the bus doing what it's supposed to do and just doing its job. Because sometimes if you have ever had to ride public buses and transportation, you'll know that, like, depending on who's driving that bus and depending on who's riding that bus, if you don't have like jackarsers that are on the bus with you, they can completely slow down the schedule. It's it's insanely frustrating, and I've had my fair share of experiences riding the bus back in the day. And for a time, I thought that I could maybe just use a bike or something, because it said that the bike to get there would probably be like 45 minutes, to an hour. And I was like, okay, well, that's not the end of the world. There's electric bikes right now and whatnot, but I don't know how it calculated that, because the truth of the matter is where I am, essentially, the average speed limit here is basically 50 miles to 60 miles an hour. Because again, it's a countryside place. It's not completely in the country, but there's so much like, open space that the speed limits are what you would find more akin to in the countryside. And there's literally no sidewalks for the most part. There's like no sidewalks until you get to like city areas. And the area that I'm in is essentially not even in a city. It's like, it's just a big plaza. So I wouldn't even really have an area to ride the freaking bike. And I think you understand where I'm going with this. Trying to basically ride on the side of the road in essentially an intersection, for God's sakes, like, because that's how fast most intersections go, like 50, 60 miles an hour on average. With a bike, even if it is electric, it's not really the smartest. And then there's also the fact that when I've been looking at the roads that you take, like going to my job, there's like ditches in them. There's like literal ditches. Like, it's not like I'd fall to my death per se. It's not that, but it's like, one misplaced pebble or freaking roadkill in the road or something, and I don't see it, and I could easily go tumbling into a ditch. You know, I just find it very funny that right as when things are, going well, I just gotta get, like, smacked right in the face again. And like I said, it's not even. I'm not even mad at this point. It's just like I felt it coming. Pause. But I felt it. I was dead serious when I felt that something would happen. And listen, I can maybe just hope that maybe these folks can, even if I have to like go hours early into work, like, and just sit around at a plaza and do nothing, I'll sacrifice, dude. I'll do that because I have to cling to this. This might be my like only freaking chance in I don't even know how long. And if I can at least hang on for maybe my first 2 paychecks or something, then I can have a bit of safety money to commute to work. You know? Because I really don't want to lose this, guys. I really don't want to lose this. And it's really just frustrating to know that almost every time something positive happens in my life, I'm just constantly hit by like negativity. Now, I'm not going to sit around here and say like woe is me or something. Like, everyone is dealing with stuff like that. Times are hard right now. I get that. But I just really do wish that I could just catch a break, you know? I really do wish I could catch a break. And I just really hope that this can work, because I really don't want to lose this. I really don't, man. And if I did lose it, I don't know, man. I'm not saying to relax. I'm not saying I'm gonna freaking ex-com myself. I'm just saying I think I literally might like I don't know. Not saying I'd give up, but I think I'd mentally check out like for like a week or two. I probably would, because I get that some people have given up. I was talking to somebody, just the other day, and he explained like a little bit about his situation and stuff like that. And again, it's other people's lives. I understand why they give up and stuff like that. And I don't look down on people who've given up, because listen, guys, like, there's no denying that. I think the only reason that I haven't given up is mainly just because of my personality and the fact that I've gone through like such garbage in my life that it's like I don't I'm not the type of person to just sit in the pit and just wallow in it. Like, I have to like try and climb out the pit. But, like, I could be one of the people who has just not fallen down enough to the point where they just say, I'm just wallowing in the mud. Because the fact of the matter is, I'm sure that some of the people who are like, in the pit of life, right, were climbing out like me. And stuff like this just kept happening to them to the point where they just said, whatever, I'm just going to wallow. But I really just hope that I can at least hang on enough to like at least get something going, get some kind of momentum going, you know? I've always accepted that there is a possibility that, it could all be for naught. And I could just be damned into desolation. I have accepted that, but that doesn't mean I'm going to like, just give up trying to get out of it, you know? If I can fight, I'm going to keep fighting. That's just the kind of personality that I have. But I'm just really hoping that if I can, then, it'll actually pay off, because the fact of the matter is, outside of this, I don't really, once you don't really have a way to commute, you're just screwed in general, because this is just the real age that we live in now. Like, all work is, freaking miles and miles away. It's frustrating. Like, there's no, nearby work that you can do. It's always just you have to go all the way out of your way to get there. And at least in the city, I would have a bus or something, but here I don't have anything. I can't walk to most of these places to get work. I can't do anything other than rely on a car or an Uber or something, which is still a car, obviously. So this really could not have happened at a worse time, and I can only hope that maybe, just maybe, I can hang on enough to get a safety net of commute money going to where I can get to work and back. I'm really hoping that, man. But yeah, it's just an update, something I wanted to share with you, because like I said, guys, you'll notice that if you look at the little hashtags on my video, I haven't changed them. I still put doomer, men's mental health, and stuff like that, because guys, I don't kid myself. I know that for the most part, a lot of us in this space really have just been dealt some really crappy hands, and even when it feels like things might go well, we get even more crappy hands. If we draw a 10 of hearts or something, the enemy player immediately draws an ace or something. It's we just get constant bad luck, and even if we think we get good luck, we get one up. So like I said, don't think that just because I've gotten a job that my perspective is now oh, everyone else is lazy and they just aren't trying hard enough. Not by a long shot. Okay, not by a long shot. But I'm gonna continue to hang in there, because like I said, there is a life beyond your pain. I don't know when the pain's gonna stop, and I don't really, at this point, with my luck, I don't really feel like it's gonna stop. But I can at least hope that I can try and deal with a way to cope. And I hope that you guys can too, because like I said, I'm not the strongest person by any means. Not the smartest person by any means. Nor do I think that my life is the worst out of everyone in the world, not by a long shot. But if I can find a way, then I know that you guys can too. And so I do hope that you keep fighting, even if it's just for peace of mind, that you'll keep fighting. The same as me. But I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, guys. Try and stay encouraged. I will let you guys know what happens next, and I'm really hoping that, things will go my ways to where I don't have to worry about losing this job, because, man, the thought of going back to job purgatory is, especially after I just got out, dude, my gosh, it's overwhelming. But I'm going to leave it here, guys. Thank you for listening. God bless. I will see you next time.